If I had something to say to the young fellas, you know, when you in here in sparring, ain't no winning in sparring. You know, a lot of fighters, they always talk about sparring. You know, oh, I did this to you in sparring, or I got the best of you in sparring. You know, if you in here sparring, you're supposed to be working on getting better. There's times where I just worked on my jab in sparring.
Terence Crawford just shocked the boxing world by joining Xander Zayas' training camp in preparation for the massive June 27th showdown against Jaron Ennis at Barclays Center.
Think a knockout would happen?
I don't know. Xander can box. Xander is a big guy. He didn't field out for the weight, you know what I'm saying? He's put on a little bit more muscle, you know? It's an interesting fight because, I mean, I think Boots is the heir apparent. Everybody is waiting on Boots to...
Sources claim Crawford flew into Puerto Rico last week to work directly with the 23-year-old unified champion. People close to the situation say this partnership could completely change the dynamics of what many experts are calling the biggest fight of 2026. Insiders report that Crawford's involvement isn't just a quick visit for publicity. He's embedded in camp and working hands-on with Zayas on specific strategies to neutralize Ennis's explosive power and offensive versatility. Reports suggest the collaboration started through a phone conversation between Crawford and Zayas' promoter, Bob Arum, approximately 3 weeks ago.
I like Crawford in that fight.
Why is that?
I think Crawford is the better talent. I think he's a better athlete and a better boxer. And
according to insiders, Arum reached out to Crawford, asking if the retired legend would be willing to share insights about facing elite welterweights and junior middleweights. People close to the negotiations say Crawford initially hesitated because he's enjoying retirement and focusing on business ventures.
Who do you think could be the mega fight for him? Do you think a guy like Jaron Ennis in the future makes the most sense?
That would be really good. Ennis is a really good fighter. That would be a major fight.
But sources claim Arum emphasized that Zayas represents the future of Puerto Rican boxing and needs guidance from someone who's faced every style imaginable during an undefeated Hall of Fame career. Terence Crawford apparently agreed to a 2-week intensive camp residency in San Juan, according to multiple sources.
I think it's a lot closer too because Ennis and Xander is a really good boxer, puncher. Well, you know, he's really big for 154.
Absolutely.
And I think that he can move around really good. He's got a lot of great combinations and stuff like that. But it's going to be a tough fight for him because Boots is actually a big fighter too as well and has a lot of skills, not just punching power, but he has a lot of boxing skills as well.
Insiders say Crawford arrived at Zayas' training facility on March 25th and immediately got to work analyzing fight footage of Jaron Ennis. People who witnessed the first session claim Crawford spent over 4 hours breaking down Ennis' last 5 fights frame by frame, identifying offensive patterns and defensive vulnerabilities that most analysts miss. According to reports, Crawford told Zayas' team that Boots has predictable setup sequences before throwing his devastating left hook to the body, and those sequences can be exploited with proper timing and footwork adjustments.
What do you see from Zayas? He will be an underdog. What do you see from him
I see he's got pretty good footwork. He's got pretty good footwork, and I think that could offset Boots' style. You know, according to how he's dealt with movers in the past.
Like Chukajan?
Yeah,
Karen.
Yeah, exactly.
The tactical adjustments Crawford is implementing focus heavily on ring positioning and distance management. Sources say Crawford explained to Zayas that Ennis's power comes from his ability to close distance explosively while maintaining perfect balance.
There you go. No, I'm saying boom. So then when you extend it, boom. This is protecting you. This is right here. You know what I mean? Because look, if I throw a hook, no, I'm saying, if I'm here, boom.
Crawford mentioned that fighters who try to move laterally away from Ennis actually make his job easier, because lateral movement creates angles for Ennis to land power shots. According to insiders, Crawford is teaching Zayas to move forward into Ennis's advances at specific moments, disrupting his rhythm and taking away the space he needs to generate knockout power. Stephen Edwards, a respected trainer who's been vocal about this matchup, apparently called into a boxing podcast after hearing about Crawford's involvement.
But I don't worry about it too much because, you know, they don't get to watch us train. They don't see the punches that we're working on and things like that. I mean, watching a guy run, I mean, you can only see but so much, you know.
Reports suggest Edwards said the addition of Crawford to Zayas' camp changes his prediction completely. Edwards mentioned that Crawford's defensive expertise at the highest level gives Zayas access to knowledge that money can't buy.
You know, it's always effective, but every time he lays off, he never looks rusty.
Stays in the gym.
Yeah, it's he's one of them guys that never look rusty. So I don't really, it applies to a lot of fighters, but he defies the logic behind that because he don't look rusty with his layoffs.
What makes him so special?
Oh man, I don't think you got enough time in the interview, man, but he seems to have like a very fast process in mind. He can seem to adjust to anything. He's like a savant.
According to sources, Edwards specifically said Crawford understands how to make elite offensive fighters uncomfortable by controlling the pace and forcing them to fight at ranges where they're less effective.
I mean, right now, with somebody like Crawford and Spence, they're not interested, and I don't think you could really knock them. And some people say, well, how you gonna say that about Canelo but not Crawford? It's a difference, bro. Terence Crawford fought the best dude in the division. Did he not?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You can fight number one, then you can go fight a B-level guy, C-level guy.
Andre Ward weighed in on social media after the Crawford news broke, according to insiders. People close to Ward's social media activity say he posted that Crawford training Zayas is the smartest move the young champion could make. Ward mentioned that Crawford has seen every style, beaten every type of fighter, and his ring IQ is off the charts. Sources claim Ward said something close to, if anybody can figure out the Boots-Ennis puzzle, it's Bud Crawford. This just got way more interesting. Tim Bradley's reaction on his podcast was apparently skeptical at first. Reports suggest Bradley questioned whether 2 weeks of work with Crawford is enough to make a significant difference against someone as talented as Jaron Ennis. But according to people who heard the full episode, Bradley admitted that Crawford's specific insights about distance control and counterpunching could give Zayas the edge he needs. Insiders claim Bradley said elite-level knowledge transfer in boxing is rare, and if Crawford is genuinely invested in helping Zayas, the impact could be substantial. Training footage that leaked from Zayas' camp shows Crawford working mitts with the Puerto Rican champion. Sources say the video reveals Crawford emphasizing short, compact counters over Zayas' natural tendency to throw longer combinations. People who analyze the footage claim you can hear Crawford telling Zayas to make him miss small, counter big, which is Crawford's signature defensive philosophy. According to insiders, the leaked video generated over 5 million views across social media platforms in less than 24 hours, with fans debating whether Crawford's involvement gives Zayas a legitimate chance to upset Ennis. Brian McIntyre, Crawford's longtime head trainer, apparently confirmed the collaboration in a brief interview with a boxing outlet.
And me and Terence got a beautiful relationship. You know, he could be, one day be my son, next day could be my nephew. We got the gym together, so we could be business partners, but we got one common goal, is to win, always to win.
Reports suggest McIntyre said Terence called him, explaining that he wanted to help Zayas because Puerto Rican fans always showed Crawford love throughout his career. McIntyre mentioned that Crawford sees Zayas as a special talent who needs guidance from someone who's been in high-pressure unification fights. According to sources, McIntyre said Crawford is teaching Zayas mental preparation techniques for handling the moment when 50-50 fights become uncomfortable in the middle rounds. Jaron Ennis' camp has been silent about Crawford's involvement so far, according to multiple reports. People close to Ennis say his team is staying focused on their own preparation and not worried about who's helping Zayas. But insiders claim that privately, Ennis's coaches are adjusting their game plan based on the assumption that Zayas will fight more defensively and counter-oriented than in previous fights. Sources suggest Ennis's sparring partners have been instructed to emulate Crawford's pull-counter style to prepare for potential tactical changes. Derek James, who works with several elite fighters, apparently gave his analysis on the Crawford-Zayas partnership during a gym interview. Reports suggest James said Crawford's biggest impact won't be technical adjustments, but rather confidence building. James mentioned that having a pound-for-pound great tell you that you can win changes your mentality completely. According to insiders, James said belief is half the battle in 50-50 fights, and Crawford's presence in camp gives Zayas psychological ammunition he didn't have before. The betting odds reportedly shifted after Crawford's involvement became public knowledge. Sources claim Ennis opened as a significant favorite around -250, but the line has moved to approximately -180 since the Crawford news broke. Bookmakers apparently told boxing media that they've seen unusual betting action on Zayas, suggesting that sharp bettors believe Crawford's expertise makes this fight closer than originally anticipated. People close to Vegas sportsbooks say the handle on this fight has increased substantially since Crawford joined Zayas' team. Robert Garcia provided his perspective on a Spanish-language boxing show, according to reports. Insiders say Garcia explained that Crawford's switch-hitting ability at the elite level makes him the perfect mentor for Zayas, who also fights from both stances. Garcia mentioned that Crawford can teach Zayas when to switch stances against Ennis to disrupt his offensive rhythm and create uncomfortable angles. According to sources, Garcia said very few fighters in history have mastered switch hitting at Crawford's level, and that knowledge being passed to Zayas is invaluable. CompuBox analysts started breaking down how Crawford's defensive principles might translate to Zayas' style. Reports suggest the analytics team compared Zayas' defensive metrics from his last 3 fights to Crawford's career defensive numbers. Sources say the analysis showed that Zayas currently absorbs significantly more punches per round than Crawford ever did at welterweight or junior middleweight. According to insiders, the CompuBox team concluded that if Crawford can teach Zayas to reduce his punch absorption rate by even 15%, it dramatically improves his chances of winning a decision. Terence Crawford apparently held a private meeting with Zayas discussing the mental aspect of facing an undefeated knockout artist. People who heard about the conversation say Crawford told Zayas that Ennis's 31 knockouts create an intimidation factor that affects opponents before they enter the ring. Crawford mentioned that he faced similar situations against Errol Spence and other big punchers throughout his career. According to reports, Crawford told Zayas that respecting power is smart, but fearing power is fatal, and the key is controlling range, so Ennis can never load up on his most dangerous shots. Bad Bunny, who manages Zayas through his Rimas sports agency, apparently reached out to Crawford personally thanking him for helping the young Puerto Rican star. Sources claim Bad Bunny posted on social media that having Crawford in camp represents a blessing for Puerto Rican boxing. Insiders say Bad Bunny mentioned that Crawford's willingness to give back to the sport by helping the next generation shows true championship character. According to reports, Bad Bunny said he's now even more confident that Zayas will shock the world on June 27th. Crawford's specific sparring partner recommendations apparently created logistical challenges for Zayas' team. Reports suggest Crawford told Zayas' coaches that they need to bring in southpaw sparring partners who can replicate Ennis' speed and combination punching. Sources say Crawford specifically mentioned that Zayas needs to work with guys who can throw fast 3- and 4-punch combinations from the southpaw stance, because that's Ennis' bread and butter. According to insiders, Zayas' team is currently negotiating with several top-level sparring partners from the Philadelphia area who match Crawford's specifications. Sean Porter gave his take on the Crawford-Zayas partnership during his podcast with Paulie Malignaggi. People who listened claim Porter said he's not surprised Crawford is helping Zayas because Bud has always respected fighters who take risks. Porter mentioned that Zayas could have stayed at welterweight and defended his titles against safer opposition, but instead he's moving up to face a killer in Ennis. According to reports, Porter said that type of fearless mentality attracts legends like Crawford, who want to see the sport evolve with brave fighters. The financial implications of Crawford's involvement apparently haven't been disclosed. Insiders say nobody knows if Crawford is being compensated or if this is purely a favor to Bob Arum and Puerto Rican boxing. Sources close to the negotiations claim that Crawford insisted on no publicity around his fee structure because he doesn't want the narrative to become about money. According to reports, people in Zayas' camp believe Crawford is doing this for legacy reasons. He wants to be remembered as someone who helped elevate the next generation after retiring undefeated. Crawford apparently worked extensively with Zayas on body-punching tactics against Ennis. Sources say Crawford emphasized that Ennis' defensive vulnerabilities show up most clearly when opponents attack his body with disciplined consistency. People who watched the training sessions claim Crawford demonstrated specific angles for landing liver shots and solar plexus punches that slow down Ennis' offensive output. According to insiders, Crawford told Zayas that if he can land 15 to 20 clean body shots by round 6, Ennis' legendary hand speed will decrease noticeably in the championship rounds. Keith Thurman apparently commented on the situation during a boxing event appearance. Reports suggest Thurman said, "Crawford helping Zayas proves that retired fighters should stay involved in the sport by mentoring young talent." Thurman mentioned that boxing's biggest problem is lack of knowledge transfer from one generation to the next. According to sources, Thurman said Crawford's involvement with Zayas sets a positive example that other retired legends should follow. The psychological warfare aspect of announcing Crawford's involvement wasn't lost on boxing analysts. Insiders claim some experts believe Zayas' team deliberately leaked the information to put pressure on Ennis' preparation. Sources say by publicizing that Crawford is in camp, Zayas' team forces Ennis to adjust his training and potentially overthink his game plan. According to reports, this type of mental chess match before major fights can impact performance when the bell rings. Zayas' confidence apparently increased dramatically since Crawford arrived in camp. People close to the young champion say his body language changed completely after working with Bud for just 3 days. Insiders claim Zayas told his team that Crawford's presence makes him believe he can beat anybody in the division. According to sources, Zayas said, "Having someone who went undefeated across 4 weight classes tell you exactly how to win gives you a different level of mental preparation." Crawford apparently plans to stay in San Juan through mid-April before returning to Omaha. Reports suggest Crawford told Zayas' team he'll come back for the final week of camp in June to fine-tune adjustments and help with mental preparation immediately before the fight. Sources say Crawford also offered to attend the fight at Barclays Center to support Zayas from ringside. According to insiders, having Crawford in his corner during the biggest fight of his career would give Zayas an emotional boost that could prove invaluable. Eddie Hearn, who promotes Ennis through Matchroom Boxing, apparently downplayed Crawford's impact during a press conference. Reports suggest Hearn said 2 weeks of work with anybody isn't enough to change a fighter's fundamental style. Hearn mentioned that Ennis has been preparing his entire life for fights like this, and no amount of outside help for Zayas changes the fact that Boots is the naturally bigger, stronger, more experienced fighter at junior middleweight. According to sources, Hearn predicted that Crawford's involvement would ultimately become a footnote after Ennis wins convincingly. The final sparring sessions before Crawford left camp reportedly showed dramatic improvement in Zayas' defensive awareness. People who attended claim Zayas was making sparring partners miss by smaller margins and countering with more precise timing than ever before.